Hello everyone, so welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know me, my name is Aditya, and in this particular video, this is a different set of video I am just trying to create. So in this particular video, what we're going to do is we all receive data when you're working in real-time industry, right? So the main step that involved in the data process is the data cleaning that we have to do, and we have to explore our data to get the insights from it. So that is a major step that is performed. But mostly we work, I have shown you how to work in Tableau Prep and Tableau Desktop, but in this particular video we are going to take a different approach. So in this particular video we are going to work upon Python, and we are going to clean our data set. And because whenever you're working in a data project, so there are two life cycle, most there might be different life cycle, but mostly majorly what I'm trying to explain you now is there are two major cycle. Suppose you have got the data and you have to present to your stakeholder what are the key insight that are there. So for that case, you will be creating a dashboard executive level, or you have to develop a infographic dashboard and you can show to your end customer, right? But suppose if the requirement is your data is not clean and your data is coming from different sources, and you have to work upon the data so that you can clean the data and you can create a model for it, machine learning model for it, so that you can estimate what is the behavior pattern. So at that time it shows too much interest, because there are too many things involved in this particular process. So let me just take you to the process that will be following. So this is the general scope of the project. This is a so these are general steps that we mostly follow when you're working on a real-time project. So the first step is the scope of the project. So for this particular case, what we're going to do is we are going to see whether a customer will churn or not churn. So for those of you who are new to this term churn, so basically what does churn means is you can take it as a reciprocal of retention rate, or inversely proportional to retention rate, you can say, to be correct. So retention rate, most of you might be familiar with. So basically suppose this is my mobile phone, and this is Apple Music. So I have taken the subscription of it, so because it was 3 month free, that's why I've taken. So the thing is suppose Apple have hired you and they have told you you have to identify whether Aditya will churn or not churn, whether Aditya will stay with us after the 3 month when the this pack expire, or he will continue it. So that means if I'm that much involved in that app, if it is giving me so much options, or if it is I can see the lyrics option, and if I can see the features that are not in other apps, and if I'm inclined toward it, so that pattern they have to find out. But there are lakhs of customer who are using this app, so they don't have to find a pattern for me, but they have to find a pattern for different users, so that how the data complexity or data density, you can see in this case it will be huge, right? So at that time we cannot use Tableau. We can use Tableau, but Python is the main language in which we can do our analysis, cleaning and all, and our language is also there, but we'll be not going to that as of now. So these are the basic steps. So the first step is scope of project. So I've written in this case our plan is to use a supervised learning technique to predict which customer are most likely to cancel the subscription using the past 3 months of data. Okay, we have the subscription data and listening history data. So one thing here is you can see a term known as supervised learning technique. So for those of you who are new to machine learning and all, so let me just give you a brief overview. So basically whenever you are dealing with a project, so it can be a supervised learning and other so it can be a supervised learning or a unsupervised learning. So supervised learning means it also divided into two parts. So one is it can have suppose it deal with the analysis of historical data. With the help of historical data we are predicting something, whether this customer will churn or not, whether what is the house price of particular area, if you know other areas prices, so that kind of problem. And for the unsupervised learning, it shows it segments the data. Suppose we have Google News, so if you want to segment what are the common news based on the clusters, so at that time use unsupervised learning. Okay, so this is a basic difference to you should know, because I am just introducing this now new series kind of thing, so you should know this terminology. So I will be using this there and how. So now the thing is the first thing is we have to gather the data, and the second thing is the second thing is gather the data, and the third step is cleaning the data. So cleaning data involve different steps. So I've written down the two major steps. So the first is if we have to check for the data types, if our data types are correct or not. If our data types are not correct, then we have to clean it, change it. And the second thing is resolving data issues. So data issues can be like too many things, like, right? Data can be like, because data is not same for everyone, because like it can have different data. Like suppose if you have got like PDF files, so PDF files are very difficult to manage, right? So I've written down the 4 major things like which mostly happen. So first thing is like if you have to check like if there is any missing data, if it is there, like how we can deal with it. Then we have to check like what are the inconsistency in a data set, or if there is any duplicate row, because like that can skew a result. And the fourth thing is we have to check any outlier is there or not. Outlier means like that is like 2 extreme points. Like suppose like if you are measuring my temperature of the body and it is showing at 200 degree, so that means like there is some inaccuracy, right? Like there might be case like the thermometer is faulty or something like that, so that is an outlier. Okay, then we'll be working upon doing an exploratory data analysis. Okay, so let us start. So as I have already created one like series like playlist as Python for data analysis, so I have introduced like the basic of Python, basic of pandas and matplotlib to some extent, so you can watch it like if you are completely new to Python, or like you can follow along with me. I will try to uh, revise your revise it side by side. And also please do subscribe to our channel, as it helped me a lot if you're watching this video from a regular period of time. And if you think like my videos are helping you, or like you are gaining some knowledge to 1% only, then also like please subscribe it and also share with the friends if possible. So now let's get back to work. So the first thing is like we'll be importing pandas. So we are importing pandas as PD. So this is our thing. So I have just kept the file in my desktop. So these are 2 files, like maybe music customers and the music listening history file. Okay, so let me just open this file for you, so you will get a basic idea like how this file look. So this is in my desktop, so let me just open it with Excel, and also open the music customer history with Excel. So the first thing is like you should check your data, right? So you can see in my music customer, like I have only one Excel sheet that is showing me the customer details. In the second Excel sheet, in the second Excel sheet, like I have 3 tabs. One is for listening history, audio files, and the sessions that the person sessions for particular period of time if you're using the app, it is considered as sessions. So that things are there. Okay, so now we have got basic idea. So I have just placed it inside this Jupyter repository. So what we have to do is we can read it. So the first thing is we have to read the customer data. So I'm just naming the customer data as customers. So pd.read underscore csv, and then just give the path it is placed. What we can do is we can just explore the data, what is inside the data, right? So for exploring it, there's a function called head function that we can use in pandas. So what we can do is we can write head, so it will show me top 5 row. If I write tail, it will show me last 5 row. So we can see this is the customer data. So customer ID, customer name, email address, member since, subscription plan he has taken, subscription rate, how much cost, discount or cancellation date it is mentioned. Okay, so now let us just read other 2 file also. So let me just read all the files now. Okay, so my first file is the customer files, and the second is listening history, right? So music underscore listening underscore history. So what I can do is I can just copy this, and I can just name it as listening history, and pd.read underscore csv. Instead of csv, what we need to mention is we have to mention Excel, because this is the Excel file, and we have to just write a name. So music 6. Perfect. So now our record is read. So now what we can do is we can just check the head of that data. So you can see like in this particular table, like we have customer ID, session ID, audio order, he's listening, audio ID, and the audio type, whether it is song or it is a podcast. Okay, now we have 2 more thing, right? In my Excel we have seen like we have audio file and session time also. So we also want to include these 2 into analysis, because we have to see whole data as a analysis, right? So what we have to do is we have to read these 2 file also. So how to do so? So what you can do is you can just copy this, and I'm just writing comment reading audio and sessions data. So basically why I'm writing the comment is whenever you are working in the Python notebook, like it is a Jupyter notebook, so it is a best practice to write what you are doing, because like if someone else is seeing your analysis, so he might be not knowing, right? He will not have like dreams like you have done this and all, because like most of the people like who are working in real-time industry, they don't follow this thing, they just do it, and that make a very big uh, problem for the others to understand if they're starting new to this project, or they are starting in middle of the project. So this is the best practice you should also follow. So that is just some gyan I've given you. So now let's just get back. So for now it is like I'm just writing audio table. So for reading audio table, our sheet is, you have to see our sheet is 2 1, right? So in this excel pd.read underscore excel, there's an option called, we can write after the path specifying, after specifying the path, we can just write comma, we can just write sheet underscore name, and we can give the sheet name. So in Python it starts with 0 1 and 2. So for 0 index it start. So for listening history it is 0, for audio files it is 1, or you can also give the file name, audio files you can write, but I'll be writing cheating something, so I'll just do shortcut. So I'll just write sheet name equal to 1, and after it is successfully run, I will just read the head. Perfect. So now you can see this is my audio table, and lastly we can look for sessions. So I'll just do it quickly for you. Okay, so now I have read all the file, so I'll just cut this because like it is not the part that we are dealing, it is after that. Perfect. I will just insert some more rows because like we have to do so many things here. So this is the first thing like that we have followed, right? We have checked, we have gathered the data, we have read the data. Now we will see our first thing, that is like we'll check if the data types in all the particular data set that we have loaded are correct or not. So for doing so, what we have to do is I'm just writing the comment out, checking the data types. Okay, so for customers table we have to check the data types. So there's a function called dtypes in Python, so we can write out .dtypes, and it will not have the function sign, which I always forgot. So this is the function. So you can see our customer ID is an integer, our customer name is object, and all the things are object. But if you have seen the data in the starting, so you can see like this member since and this cancellation date, like these are the date field, right? So this should be like the date time format, and for the subscription date, like it should be an float value, because like whenever we are doing our analysis, so it will not work if it is an object, right? So we have to convert this. Okay, so let us work upon this, then we'll check for other data set. Okay, so I'm just going table by table, or you can say I am going through data frame by data frame. Okay, so this is for customer data frame, then we'll go to listening history, then sessions, then audio. Okay, so how to do so is, so what we have to do is we have to change the data types. So we can write customers, then square bracket, then the column we are interested in. So this is the member since, so I'll just member since, and what I want to do is I want to convert it. So I'll just write to equal to sign here, and I will again mention this. Okay, and we can just write pandas function like pd to date time, it will convert the data frame. So what we can do is pd, that is pandas library, and we have function called to date time, and we can close within the bracket that column we want to convert, and we can click on enter. Perfect. And the same thing we can do for our cancellation date. So what we can do is we can just copy this, and we can just paste this, and we can just change the column name here. So this is for cancellation date. So why I am doing equal to sign here is because like I want to make the change in my original data frame, that's why I am just giving the equal to sign, I'm assigning this value to this. If you will just write pd to data pd to date time, so it will show you like it has changed, but in the data frame it will not get changed unless you did this sign, this thing, or you have to do one more thing that I will show you later. Click. Perfect. So our cancellation date is also been converted to date time, that we'll see soon. And the now thing is subscription date. Okay, So just write customers and subscription rate, and for this thing what I need to do is I need to convert it to numeric. So there's a function underscore to numeric in Python. So what we can do is we can just mention the column name, and after converting, what I want is I want to replace the dollar sign with the a space, because like dollar will help, because dollar will create a problem when I'm working upon building a calculation that happens. So what we have to do is we'll do one more function, that is string. So string dot replace, as it is an object, so we can write string functions, and instead of dollar, what I want to do is I want to give it the empty space and click on enter. Perfect. Unable to pass string. Okay, so what we have to do is after passing this numeric, we have to enclose this within it, because like we are using numeric functions, so it is already converting into numeric before replacing it. So what we have to do is we have to enclose into square like curly braces. So what will happen is first this will get executed because it is an object. After this is executed, then this object will be converted into string to numeric field. So that was the issue I guess was happening. So let me just rerun it. Yeah, perfect. So it has run now. And now what we can do is you can ignore this is just a warning which happens. Now what we can do is we can just check our data types now, like so you can see our member since has been connected to date time and subscription rate also float. And if I want to see my headers, so you can see my dollar sign has been removed and other things are working perfectly fine. So our first thing is done. Okay, so now let us just check for other also. So listening history dot t types. So customer ID is integer, session ID is integer, audio order is integer, audio ID is integer, audio type is object. So this seems fine for me, so no change here. So the next is audio table. So audio types, ID is an object, this is name is an object, genre is an object, popularity as an integer. So for ID we can change it to integer, but as if now I'm not working upon it. Session dot t types, I think I've given sessions. So session ID is integer and this thing. Okay, so now this looks perfect to me. So now our data types are correct from all the cases. Okay, so second steps involves is like we have to resolve a data issue. Okay, so for data issue the first step is like we have to check if in our data there are missing values or not. So now let us start dealing with the missing values. So I'm just give it a markdown. So now for checking out missing value, what we have to do is we can just write customers table, and we have a is na function that will show you like if there is any missing value or not. So what we can do is we can just write is na, and we can mention inside as sum. So it will show me like if it shows zeros, then it has no missing values. If it is showing any number thing, then it shows it is having missing values. And other thing to check is like we also have info function with the help of which we can check. So I'm just showing you two different methods. So if you're new to this, so it is good to know as many methods. So you can see it show me like detailed version. Like you can see 30 normal values, and you can see here we have 25 and we have 30 and we have 7 and we have 13. This 13, 7 and 25 values, that shows like we have null value in a data set. Okay, so the thing is like we have to investigate like what is happening in the missing value, and if we can have some method to like fill it, or we can ignore it, or we can delete it. Okay, so first thing is we'll be going one by one. So for the customers, let us just check for subscription plan first. So how to check is what you can write is you can just set the column name. So I'm just writing subscription plan column, and also I can write a comment checking the subscription plan any values. Okay, so what I can do is I can just paste it here, customer subscription plan dot is NA. And if I want to see all the rows for this, so what I can do is I can just do a little trick here. I can just mention again my data frame, and I can just enclose in a square bracket, so it will show me all the records for the missing value. So these are the ones which are not having any subscription plans. Okay, you can see NA and value here. So these are the 1 2 3 4 5 records. Okay, so now what we can do is we can just investigate it more further upon. So we can check like we can check subscription plan and subscription rate together, because I think on the basis of subscription rate only, like the subscription plan must be renamed. So what we can do is we can just see two tables together. So for seeing two tables, what we can do is we can just mention double brackets here, double square brackets here, and we can just write the column names. So subscription plan, comma, and subscription rate, and just single inverted comma I missed, so write single inverted comma and enter. So this you can see, right? And what I can do is I can just write dot drop NA, so it will show me only the records that are not having NA. So you can see like the basic plan is like $2.99, and my premium package locked like $9.99 or $7.99 and $9.99. It is like changing, but for basic it is like remaining as $2.99. So what we can do is now we know, since like subscription plan like for $2.99 it is like basic one, and these all the missing records are having $2.99. so what we can do is we can just replace this NA with the basic this basic ads name. So this is how you have to deep dive into data to see the trends that I just saw, just we saw just right now, and this is the thing we have to do. So now what we can do is we can just go to customers, and we can, so now what we can do is we can use the function known as dot fill NA. So what it will do is it will just fill the NA with the thing you provide. You can use like suppose if it is like suppose this is the case of we have discovered this insight, but like suppose like if we have the data of like suppose suppose let me just make an example. So suppose like you have PlayStation and you have like different games. So like if you know like GTA series, like GTA 6 is launching, so what will be the price of that GTA game? So like what are the games of the new console generation, what are the gaming price? So if you take a mean of that, or if you take the median of that, so with the help of this statistical measure like mean, median, mode, we can use the option of fill NA. So I hope you are clear with it, or if you're not clear, don't worry, like we'll go deep dive into our this Python series, so you'll be familiar with it. If you want me to make a specific video for specific topics, you can just comment down in the chat box, so that will help me to analyze your thoughts and we'll work upon it. So now what we have to do is we have to fill NA with the basic plan, right? Because we have discovered like all the missing values are NaN. So I can just copy this, paste it, and I can just enter it. So now my missing plan has been filled. Only thing I have to do is I have to just write in place equal to true, so that it will affect my real-time data. Or else what I can do is I can you might be guessing it right. So what I can do is I can just write customers subscription plan. I can just refer this column like this, and I can just give equal to sign. That will also work if you don't want to use in place equal to true. So that is just a new thing that I want to introduce to you, so you will get familiar with it in future. So this is perfect. So now the thing is we have checked for subscription plan, and we have investigated between subscription plan, subscription rate, and we have gotten final decision like what we have to do with this particular column, like how to deal with missing value. So we have to fill this with the trend we are seeing. So we have done it. So now let us move on to another column. So the second column is a discount column. So this is a let us just see for this discount one. Just gonna try checking for the discount column missing values. Okay, so discount I will just enclose in data curly bracket, and what I can do here is I can just mention my table name, customers table name, and what I can do is this is, let me just see in the top what does this column contain. So let me just leave 30 rows. Okay, so you can see in my discount column there is a yes, or I think there might be no, and some null values. So this is a categorical variable, right? So what I will do is for seeing categorical variable trend, what we can do is we can use value counts. So it will show me what is happening. And one more thing we have to do is we have to just write drop na equal to false. So if because like it is dropping the na, like if there's a na value in a particular column, it will not show in my value count. So if I write drop na equal to false, it will show me how many null values are there. So what I'm going to do here is either thing is like you can ignore this null value, but that will be a lost will be getting loss of our data, and that is 23 records, and there are total 30 records, I guess. So that we cannot take, right? So for this thing what we have to do is, like, I think this NaN will be a no that have been given by customer. So there might be an option in an app to no, and because like of some glitch or something, it has taken as NaN, or like if the user has not selected this option, so that thing might be there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to replace this NaN with no, okay, with 0 suppose. Okay, so I'll convert this into an integer field for analysis. So how to do so? So now I'm just introducing you to a new thing, a new library. So that is a numpy library. So numpy is used for like basically calculation purposes. So how to import is, I'll just write import numpy as np. Okay, and what I'm just writing here is just read the comment which I'm writing now, just read it. तो I think समझ आ गया होगा आपको, लेकिन let me just reframe it. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just using the numpy library to map this data, and according to certain condition I want to map if it is a 1 or 0, if it is a yes or no. So how to do so is, like in numpy there is a function called as where function, which is like very useful if you are dealing with exploratory data analysis, or you're working on machine learning model, or you're working on any Python project in your company or with yourself. So this is a very important function that you should know. So I thought to introduce you now. So what I can do is I can just write my table name, and then I can just write a condition np dot where, and here you have to give the condition. So for our condition, customer discount equal to yes, then comma. So it is like a if and else statement, like if it is true or not. If it is true, I want to give 1. If it is false, I want to give 0, or else otherwise I can also give the function here if I want to. That we'll see in a later videos, or in this particular session also, like if it comes up in this particular dataset analysis. So as if now this is okay, click on OK. And now what we can do is we can just go back to our last one. So this is the cancellation date. So for cancellation date might be not there in a particular data set. There might be NaN, so not a time value. So it is okay, I think, because like there might be users who have not cancelled the plan yet. So that's why a cancellation date is not applicable. So cancellation plan is okay, as of now there might be users who have not cancelled the plan. Just ignore my English, you can correct it. I'm just writing it to explain you. Okay, so it seems okay, we are good to go. Okay, so this is how you have to progress step by step that I'm telling you. Okay, so now let us just add few more things. So now we have checked for our customer data set, right? Now we have to check it for listening history and audio and all, for everything, right? So let me just do it for you. So listening history, so this is also okay. So only our customer data were having like missing values, so that we have treated now. So to just reiterate, we'll just check customers dot is na, and we'll just pass it to some function. So we can see in a cancellation date there are 17 missing values, but that I told you like that are not a wrong depiction, that is a correct depiction. The user might have not cancelled that, so that's why it's not applicable. So this is correct. So we have cleaned the data. So I can just write we have successfully dealt with missing values. Okay, dealt with. Up now English people will say me I'm writing wrong English, but that is okay. You can just correct me. It's always good to learn. So now the thing is, now we have done this part. So now a second step comes up. So our next step is like we have to check for inconsistent text or typos in our dataset. Okay, so I think only in customer table there might be something, so because it is huge. So what we have to do, we can do is we have a function known as describe. So what it does is like it will show me all the numerical field. If you have seen my pandas video, so I have already explained this function earlier on, but let me just reframe it. So for describe function, like it is like that, you can get the information of the numerical field, like the basic statistics you can say. So let me just rerun it so you'll get an exact idea. So you can see customer ID it is an integer field, that's why it is showing subscription data and discount. So you can see our minimum and maximum value and a 25% to 70% and 50% percentile value. So basically these are used for box plot where we can identify outliers. So in this particular case you can see for subscription rate, like our minimum value is 2.99 and our maximum value is 99.99 and the 75 percentile is 7.99. So that shows a huge gap between 75 percentile and maximum value. So that means like there might be some outlier here. So we'll just check that out. And for the discount, like minimum value is 0 and maximum value is 1. That is perfect because that is the column that we have already created by ourselves. So that will be correct only because we are brilliant, I know. So now our suspect is on the subscription rate. So basically like this is how you have to deal with data. So this is just like a detective game. You are just having so many clues when you're working in it. You are getting involved in it and you have to solve that clue to get a bigger picture in hands. So that is how I see it, and let me know in comments like how do you see while solving a business problem. So now the thing is we have to subtract a suspect on our subscription rate table. Okay, so what I can do is I can just write subscription rate, and what I can do is I can just greater than 7.99 value, greater than percentile value I'll just show. And if I want to show the fields, so I have told you a trick. We can just enclose into our customers one. So you can see our subscription rate all are 9.99 and one value is only, that is 99.99. So there might be a case when they have entered the data or they have recorded the data, so it should be 9.99 but it has by mistakenly taken as 99.99. so this mistake we have to clear, because like when we are building a model, so that will skew a result. So for like replacing it, so what we can do is we can just use ilog function. So I can just mention the coordinate equal to 9.99. I'll just check if it's correct. Yeah, it's correct. So I can just write as 9.99. Perfect. So now let me just check if that is solved. So if I use the describe function again, so now it is perfect. So now our this outlier have been detected, right? So let me just check for other table as well quickly, so that if we cannot neglect it, right? I'm saying like it is not having an issue because it is a unique field, like it is a session associated with one ID, one particular session. So now as we have performed our 2 steps, so I congratulate you all that you have got to know like how to start your first Python EDA. So steps that are involved, so you can see there is too much, and in the EDA process it is like that. We have to go back and forward. Like after we have investigated our time, we are going into a data modeling, and then we see like there need to be change in the data type because we have missed it, or there might be a column that we have to again change it, or we have to add some columns, so that we have to go to and fro. So this is the kind of timeline that it follows. So now the thing is like we have to check for duplicate data. So that is very simple, like we can just write dot duplicated to see if any duplicated data is there. So let us just start with the first table, that is customers table. So dot duplicated, and I can just bracket inside to see if any duplicate data. So it is showing me no value, so that means like it is having no duplicate data. Okay, so I can just do it same thing for other tables. So perfect, so all our duplicates are not there, so it is perfect. So for the outliers, like we saw one outlier in the inconsistency only format, that is for the subscription date that we have corrected. So for this case, like I think we have no outliers as of now, because this step we have taken, we have solved earlier only. So this is how you can see, like we have already, when we were solving about the inconsistent type, then only we saw one outlier. So this is the thing we have done. So now what we have to do is now we can create how we can create we can create columns. Like suppose, like if you are dealing with a problem statement, then there might be case like you have to solve an EDA problem, you have to explore the data, so you might need some extra columns in the data set. For this case, like I will be using two things. So the first thing is I will create a thing like if the customer is cancelled or not cancelled and subscription, and the second column is we have to correct our email ID, because like if you see in the data set that I have loaded in the starting, so you can see in the email ID there is a email term that is extra. So I don't want that to be the part of each row. Okay, so now let us see how to do so. So let me just add some steps here. Okay, so if you have to add new column, so you can just mention the table name, and you can just mention that column name what you are specifying, and you can just write your logic here. So we have to write like if the customer has cancelled or not cancelled. So how we can do that is we can do that with the help of cancellation date. Like if a cancellation date is not null, that means the person has not cancelled. If it is having some date, so that means he has cancelled, right? So it is that simple. So what we can do is we can just write it with the help of cancel date field. So I will just copy this field. So customers table cancellation date dot not NA. Okay, and p dot where my customer cancellation date is not NA, then not NA. It means like it is not NA, that means the person has cancelled, and if it is there, then it is not cancelled. Now the thing is customers is not defined. So coming up, because like in my starting, like I have taken my customers as small c, right? So that is how small problem is. So this is how our problem is. So what I can do is I can just now run it. I think one bracket is missing. Okay, one thing is missing. Oh, np dot where, and this is the wrong bracket I have put here, so it should be like in the last. Perfect. So now if I see my customers dot head, so you can see now, you can see that for the date it is there, if it is cancelled 1, and for the not date it is 0. That is correct. So that would be useful like when we are building our data model, because this is the thing that we have to predict, right, whether the person is cancelled or not cancelled. Second thing is like we can see in the email ID. So I'll set email customers email. So if you're familiar with if you work with a Tableau or any Excel sheet, so you might be knowing the string function. So we can just cut the part in the string. So in this case, like 1 2 3 4 5 6, so after 6 part I want it to be there, so I can just write it. So this is just like step like the starting point, the end point, and the step size. So in this case we are just giving the starting point. So now if I check my email ID, it should be correct, I believe. I'll just check the customer head only to verify it. Perfect. So you can see now our email is proper, right, for analysis. So this have been done. Okay, so now copying it from my source, so it will not waste so much time. So I'll just convert this to a markdown. So now the step is EDA. So now we have to identify, like, try to better to know which customer have cancelled. So basically we can see like how long they were the members before they cancelled, or what percentage of customer who cancelled have discount or who didn't cancel. Like if they have, so the customer, like we can see the relationship between, like, if we give the discount to the customer, whether they will cancel or not cancel. Okay, so that can be a good insight while working on the data. Okay, so the first thing is we need to check like how long the members were there before they cancelled. So what we can do is we can see the difference between member since and the cancellation date. We can calculate the mean to find out like what was the average month the person have stayed, right? So what we can do is I can just write down it's all in a bracket and dot mean. Okay, so you can see 47 days. I have just subtracted opposite, so 47 days. That means like 1.5 months, 1.5 months approximately, right? So this is our little data set, because like this is only 3 months of data we are having. So that's why like our result is like this. But like if you're dealing with a large amount of data, so that means that will be having like a long gap or a small gap, and it will be vast in our complexity. But just to showcase you, just to understand the topic, like how we can work on it, so I've just taken this data set so from some other challenge. So this is the mean time, we can say. So now what we can do is we can identify like what are the percentage of people who have discount or who have not discount. Okay, my discount. So what I can do is I can just see like if my discount is yes or no. So I can just rename it discount yes variable. So I can just give like if my customer discount is equal to 1, that means people with yes discount, like people with yes discount means people who have discount. Okay, so customers I can just enclose in a close bracket. So perfect. And then what I can do is I can just check yes. So you can see this is the customer who got the discount. Okay, and same thing we can do is who does not got the account. So we can just give it as a 0, and we can just write as no, and we can just write as no, right? So there are many people who have not got discount, like there are only less people who have got discount. Okay, so now what we want to do is we can find out a pattern, like if the person have got a discount, whether they have cancelled or not cancelled. Okay, so that might be an interesting thing to know, right, that we can do. So the first thing is we can do for discount yes, and we can use the column known as cancelled. Okay, we can sum it up and we can divide by the count. So that will give us the exact number, like if the person have what is the rate. So you can see in this particular case I can just write in the comment like 86% roughly 86% people are there who have cancelled their plans after getting discount. So that is a good insight that you can give to your stakeholder. So now the same thing we can do for discount no one, like we have not got. So what is the thing going on there? So I can just replace it. So you can see 30%. So iteration rate is there. 30.4% people are there who have not cancelled their plan after getting discount. Okay, plotted. So I'm just copying one code here because like it is a big code. So I'll just explain you what is happening. So you can see what I've done here is, so I've just created one data frame here. So I've just added like two things, like had discount or did not have discount. I've just added these two values that we have created, and I've just added like the columns, like this column name, what is the column name, and just I've just plotted the bar graph here. So there's a lot going on in this particular calculation, but just to show it visually like how it's appealing, we'll be going deep dive into my visualizations in Python series. I will be showing you like how to create this in detail. So this is just a small glimpse you can see. So you can see this is so much information, right? Like those who have not discount, like they were the less to churn as compared to person having discount. Okay, so one more thing we can now check is we can check like what are the how many sessions like the person have are taking, like what are the normal sessions, how many sessions are they taking, or like which genre like which customers are like mostly watching. So for that case what I need to do is I need to combine my two table, right? So one is the customers table. If I go in the top, so I can see my customer table and my audio table to get those information, right? So for doing so, first we have to split this ID column that I told you in the starting, right? So now let us just read the audio column again. So we'll just do our part now. ID column. Okay. So audio dot head. So you can see this one. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my ID column, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use string.split function, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to split it through my this column. So I'll just click on this. So now it is converted, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to convert this into the list. Now it is converted to list. Now what I will do is I will just convert this full into data frame, because data frame, perfect, because that will be good for analysis, right, that we are doing. So now you can see I have just did like multiple steps, but I have just combined it now. And now what I want to do is I want to rename my column, rename columns dot rename columns equal to 0 as this is the song field now. So I think in my above table like I have just the column name, so I'll just give the same thing. Let's go work audio type. I will give audio type as song name. Okay, so that can be used for a relationship if you are doing in Tableau or something, if you want to link that table or if you want to join. So that thing we can do audio type. Okay, and the first column I want to name it as ID field. ID field now, right? I'll just check in the first table what is the first, that is the thing. Audio ID. I can just name it as audio ID. Audio ID. Okay, perfect. And what I can do is I can just rename this as, so what I can do is so now instead of all I can just rename it as a clean, because like all, because like we have to link it with the audio table, right, with the main audio table that we are doing. So now what we have to do is we have to combine this with the main audio table, because we were splitting in the main audio table, right? So that is the thing we have to do. So now we can just rename this as audio all, and what I can do is I can just use concat function and I table, and now what I can do is I can just see if that is working. So that is working perfectly. We can just use x is equal to 1 because we want to give it column wise. We have to do it so that we can do, if I want to do horizontally then I have to give x is equal to 0. If I want to add in my rows, so this is my column wise, so that's why I've done this. So now the thing is we have got the new audio table, and now what we have to do is we have the song ID, the audio type, the audio ID, the name, genre and popularity, right? So now what I can do is, so now what we can do is we have got this audio table, and we also have a listening record, right? That we are seeing before customer table, we have also have listening record that I forgot. So in a listening record, yeah, So in the listening record, we have the listening history, like we have the customer ID, right? So if I want to see the customer pattern, so first I have to do is I have to merge these two table, listening history with the audio table, using the audio ID as a common field we can link. So how to do so in Python is, so I will, and then you have to mention the field, on which field like you are using that as a linking field in the both the table. Okay, so in the left one, like we are using our listening history. Okay, let me just check the name, because like listening history is correct. On the right hand side we are using our audio all table, and our main point of contact is audio ID. Okay, so you can see cannot merge series class string was passed ID field, I guess. So let me just do one more thing. So what we can do is we need to check the data type, checking data type. So this is how problem will come when you are solving a problem. So I just try to solve it with you guys, so you will also get to know like what all challenges you can face. So the thing is, we need to check for audio ID, right? Or audio D types. I can just write D types. So you can see audio ID is an object. Okay, and above that in listening history, if we see, go above listening history, audio ID is an integer. So what we have to do is first we have to convert this audio ID into an integer field. Okay, so how to do so? Okay, so what I've done here is just I have written like a .pd I've removed. So .s type we have to adjust individually, so that will convert into an integer. So now it is perfect. So now what we can do is I can just use my first table. So my first table is learning history, and that I want to merge. So then I can use .merge function, and I want to merge it with the audio all table. Okay, then how I want to merge, I want it to be the left join. I want to preserve all the record that is in the listening history table, because that is a customer record. And second thing is on how we have to do it, on audio ID we have to do it. So I'm just writing the on field. Perfect. So now you can see now it is perfectly done. So there was some mistake in the previous version which I wrote the statement, so now I've corrected it. So this is how we can use combining tables. So this is just type of joins, that left, right, and all join that we have to do now. So that kind of thing is there. So now you can see now our data is vast, right? So now suppose I want to see like we have got customer and sessions together. So we can see like how many, what are the sessions, normally sessions each customers have. So that can be a good insight. So customers with sessions most common. Okay, that we are trying to find out. So I'm just writing what I'm trying to find out in a basic layman term. So that is how you have to deal with it. That you have to or you can also write in technical way, but technical way I'm not going, because like it is not a project which I'm working, right? It is you can take it as a project also, but it is like kind of learning, like that you might be now. I hope like you are getting it, and if you are loving it, then subscribe and share with the friends. And if you learn little bit also, then also subscribe it, as it helped me a lot. So now the thing is, what we have to do is we have to find out like the customer and session thing. Okay, so what we have to do is we have the function known as group by function we can use. So now let us see how to find out this thing. So what we can do is we can use group by function. So that is just like a pivot table, you can say. So how we can do is first we have to write like according to what field you want to group. So in this case we are going to group by customer ID. And now what I want is I want a unique sessions. Okay, so what I can do is I can just take my second column, that is like session ID, and what I want is unique ones. So what I can do is I can just write dot n unique function, a number of unique ones. So I can just click it. Perfect. And what I can do is I can just convert into to list, and this is not working. And unique function. So this is the customer ID and this thing. Okay, and now what I can do is I can just plot it in the form of histogram. So plt dot histogram, so extra comma dot plot dot histogram. So now, and I can just write this thing, so remove this. Perfect. So now you can see our frequency chart have been prepared. So you can see like mostly like people having 1 to 3 sessions, like which are like in most of the cases, most of the frequency. And you can see for some of the sessions, like there are, for some users, like there are like 6, 7, 8 sessions that seems to be an outlier or seems to be like the extensive user of this particular app, you can say, so that we can investigate further. Okay, now one more thing we can do is we can just check the genre, like what are the genre mostly being seen. Okay, so for doing so, what I can do is I can just add df genre, and what I can do is I can just dot value counts, that is simple thing. And you can see pop and pop music are the two thing, right? So when we were doing our exploratory data analysis, so we missed one thing, that is to replace to deal with the things like everything having any duplicate and all. So it is like a duplicate only, but it is like a different form. So what I can do is I can just go here, and what I can do is in my audio table, so what I can do is I can just take my genre column, and what I can do is I can just write np.where, and if my audio dot genre field is equal to pop music, then I want to give it as a pop only, else I want to give it my genre field, whatever it is. Okay, so I'm just setting the function here. Okay, and just enter. Perfect. So now what I have to do is I have to rerun all the cells. So I'll just click on this kernel and restart and run all. Perfect. So now you can see our pop music is the like the most heard, because like it was showing pop and pop music is different, so that was our cleaning step was missed. So that is how we have to fix it. So now you can see pop music is the most, and that also we can plot it in a bar graph if I want to do. Bar where I can bar horizontal I want to plot, and I can sorting also we can do, but I'm just not doing. So you can see pop is in demand, then hip hop, then country, then jazz, and true crime and comedy like podcasts are the less audience are reaching out to watch podcast in this particular app. So this is some of the key insights which we can give to our end user. So now the last step remain is, that is the modeling step. So that I will be covering in a new video, because like it is a lot to for you guys who are just starting out new. So I hope you guys learn something from this video, and if you learn something from the video, do subscribe it and also share with your friends. So see you soon in the next video. Till then, happy whizzing. Bye bye.